Now from the University of Okoboji, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee.
Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. Welcome to the start of another great week here in the Iowa Great Lakes. And it's been a busy week previously to this down in the Iowa Legislature. And State Representative John Wills is here with me today from Iowa's 1st Legislative District. And last week was the second funnel week.
Yes.
I always kind of make that, it's kind of like the family's getting ready to go on a trip, and the dad says, okay, last chance, everybody, if you have to go to the restroom, go take care of it. This is kind of the what they call it, a funnel, and that's exactly what it is, John.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me today. This is we're starting to finally see signs of spring, and this is great, and I'm looking forward to it because summertime is next. And
yes.
That's Okoboji time.
That's Okoboji time.
So just really looking forward to that. But funnel week, you know what? If we don't set dates and timelines and schedules for us down in the Capitol, we'll be there all year.
Yeah.
And believe me, you do not want us there all year, because I always jokingly say, the longer we're down in Des Moines, the more damage that we can do. And so let's get out of there and come home and be citizen legislators and be back home. So we have to set schedules and that sort of thing, because otherwise bills would just float there perpetually. And so the first funnel week is basically an effort to get all of the bills that we want to concentrate on out of committee and over to the Senate or over to the House. And then the second funnel is those bills that have made it over to the House or the Senate. Now they have to get out of committee. And so it's basically an effort to push us forward. And so this week was a really busy week as far as committee work. We did a little bit of floor debate. But the first funnel week was a lot of committee work and a little bit of debate. And then next week, I bet you I don't know for sure the schedule is going to be like next week, but I guarantee we're going to have 2 or 3 days of heavy debate time of those bills that just came out of committee, and we're just going to send them over to the Senate. Or now we're going to start seeing bills go down to the governor for her signature or approval. And so it's kind of really an interesting thing. And that tells you really that we're coming to the close of the session already.
Yeah, and I always think it's a good barometer. I mean, you get a lot of bills, a lot of ideas are thrown out there, and it really goes to show up, okay, if this one truly has merit, or, it's a great idea, but, you know.
Yeah, a lot of bills at this point, sometimes we pass a bill because it has merit, but it's just not ready. So in order to get it through the funnel, we'll be like, okay, let's pass it, and then they never show up on the floor because they just never were ready. Sometimes they do show up on the floor, and we have amendments and fix them. But that's really kind of where that, somebody once told me it's kind of like a boilerplate where you're starting to get the boil, it's just starting to bubble just a little bit, and you need to get it to full boil before it's ready.
Well, and speaking of which, one that surprised me was it just yesterday, the vaccine mandate?
Oh, yeah.
That was, I mean, generally when something gets to that point, it's like, okay, this is going to be passed, and just kind of fell short, didn't it?
Well, this is where we were just talking a little bit off camera, but we're a little bit about, the perfect is the enemy of the good.
Yes.
And so really what happened with the vaccine mandate prohibition, there wasn't enough votes to do the full-blown vaccine prohibition, COVID vaccine prohibition, basically is what it is. We didn't have enough votes for it, and so we came up with this proposal. And then the other side said, well, that's not everything I wanted. And so they voted against it, and it failed. It just died. And it's a sad thing, because we could have really done some good things. Not perfect, not everything, but really, our founding fathers never approached the founding of this country expecting they were going to get everything that they wanted.
Exactly.
And so that bill, sadly, it failed. And maybe sometime this year yet, we can still find a way to bring it back, resurrect it, because I always say nothing's ever dead until we gavel out and say, that's it for the year.
That's right. Exactly. Well, and you were busy with mental health this week, too. You had 3 different bills going through the House. Yeah,
this is really part of our mental health rehash, or we're basically redoing mental health in the state of Iowa. 3 years ago, we did adult mental health. 2 years ago, we did children's mental health. Last year, we took mental health, the levy off of property taxes, and brought it to the state, which needed to happen. That was well overdue. And then now this year, we're doing some really huge things towards the mental health. That's going to help with the mental health across the state, with adding additional beds in our state institutions, adding basically reimbursed psychiatric
mental health providers,
where they're learning. I wanted to say kind of like just training or practice.
Oh, sure.
Psychiatrists. So basically, they're going to get reimbursed to do some of the stuff out in the state, as long as they promise to stay in the state for a period of time.
Yeah.
And so their college fees, college payments will be reimbursed to them over a period of time, and just a lot of different things. I really look at that as a workforce issue, because it's partially we need to keep these psychiatric folks here in the state.
Yes.
But also, we've got a lot of problems with mental health. I've said for years that mental health in the state of Iowa is at a critical mass. We're at a critical area. And so I'm so happy that we're really working on some of these issues.
Yeah, and we're lucky to have providers like we do, and I mean, we certainly see it at county level, and
and I would have to say supervisors, because that property tax levy, supervisors have been at the forefront of our mental health problems in the state, and so as a supervisor, what we've been facing, and it's really not been a good situation. And so if it was an easy problem, we would have fixed it years ago. We're just going to have to keep working at it and kind of come up with good ideas and good ways to keep chipping away at it. But we can't stop until we've got some really good things happening.
Exactly. And on child care, been busy with that as well.
Yeah.
Two bills passed in the House this week.
Yep. So again, workforce. That's a common theme for the year. We have to get all of our workforce working. One of those ways is through child care, and last year we did some really good things on the child care issues. This year we're doing some more. We just have to keep expanding that and allowing people to take children to daycare, to child care, without getting them kicked off of that child care assistance if they get a raise or if they get additional pay at work or earn too much. And we need to have people that are moving to the state understand that, hey, we have adequate child care. You don't have to worry about coming to Iowa. And so it's workforce all around. Just like the tax cut that we passed a few weeks ago, a workforce issue, because we had some of the highest taxes in the nation. We were at 33rd in the nation as far as competitiveness. With the tax cut that we did a few weeks ago, we're going to drop down into the top 10 as far as being top 10 competitive in the nation. And so that's going to entice people to move to the state of Iowa.
That is good for recruitment, whether it's businesses or families.
Yeah, and that's individual taxes, inheritance. We're doing away with inheritance, corporate. Everything is coming down, and we need to. We're over collecting in taxes right now, but more importantly, I think that young families are going to say, you know what, if I can save $1,000, $1,300, $1,500 a year, and we already have a low cost of living here in the state.
Right.
So you combine those things, it's going to be a really competitive, thing for Iowa to have.
And we need that. We've been an aging state for a long time, and not only bring in youth, but keep our youth.
Yeah.
There's a lot that graduate from high school, college, whatever, and they go off to those other places, and we're slowly but surely we're making it more and more essential to stay right here in Iowa.
So you bring up a good point, because I am a candidate this year, and so my very first campaign, one of my top campaign issues was, I'm tired of our kids leaving the state of Iowa for greener pastures, and I want our kids that have moved away to move back to the state of Iowa. And so this is one of my campaign promises, that we're going to make Iowa more competitive so that our kids either stay here or that they come back to the state. And so child care, taxes, all of these things, the mental health, all of these things that we just talked about, and even more, are all part of that, keeping our kids here or having them come back to the state.
Yeah, we're making that marketing campaign even better if compared to $7 gas in California, and making the same amount of money, and you're paying 3 times what you would for to live somewhere. All of a sudden, boy, Yeah, well, looks pretty good.
Yeah. And it kind of ties together. Workforce again. I just had a bill that passed out of the House this week or last week. I can't. It just blends together. It's on home-based businesses and also on food freedom, and combining those two as a cottage food industry, home-based business, cottage food industries, and it's in the Senate. I understand that they're going to be taking it out of the Senate next week and sending it to the governor. But this is another thing that, if we can have 50% of all businesses in the country are home-based businesses, and if you combine with that the cottage food industry, which is, kind of that shelf-stable food that you can make and people can make from home, and we're really going to have some really neat stuff happening in Iowa.
Yeah, we're a unique area, and we should take advantage of that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, this past weekend, the previous weekend of this one, we turned our clocks around again.
Yes.
Now the bonus is it's lighter later at night. I do like that, but there are those who just ain't digging the daylight savings time switch every 6 months.
And this is really neat. So seven years ago, I signed on to my first keeping Iowa's standard time to become Iowa's daylight savings time to become Iowa standard time. And so 7 years in a row, I signed on to a bill that does this. And so finally, this year, we finally passed that out of the House floor. So remember, we talked about this boiler plate sometimes, and so finally it's starting to bubble. But at the same time, the day later, maybe they were listening to us, but the U.S. Senate passed it unanimously out of the U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting because we could change and go to standard time without permission of the federal government.
Right.
That's the way the law is written. In order to change the standard to daylight saving time, we have to get permission from the federal government. And so they're in the process of doing just that. Now there's 17 other states that have done this, and it's really an interesting topic when you look at grassroots politics.
Yeah. And I think the U.S. Senate, so Iowa's serious about this. We better get on the ball here.
Yeah, I'm sure it was just because
so I'm
of
sure
Iowa.
that was the conversation in their committee meetings. But it's interesting, and it seems like people are. The time is now, and so.
So we talked about this, but what happens if we do it and surrounding states don't do it? It'll be so confusing. Well, I always tell people that Pure South Dakota is split right down the middle between Mountain Time and Central Time. So if they can do it as a town in South Dakota, but Minnesota is signed on. They are in the process of doing the exact same thing that we are. I think Illinois, Missouri. I don't know about South Dakota or Nebraska, but really, most of the surrounding states are already moving in that direction anyway.
Well, Minnesota was one I was concerned about because I'd hate to show up an hour late to a Vikings game.
That would be bad.
That would be bad.
And this is going to be the year that we go to the Super Bowl, I believe.
The new coach, and this is it. This is our time, John. Yeah, we'll see.
Every year.
I've said it for years, too. All right, well, anything else going on down there that need to let people go on about?
It's just been a very busy week, and the year so far, but just really having a fun time down there this year. It's been really good. The tax cut was kind of like one of the best things that's happened, but really we're doing a lot of good things in Des Moines, and I just really tell people, if you have any questions, any thoughts, look me up, let me know. And I'll be out and about because I'll be campaigning in almost new districts, so it'll be a lot of fun.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for coming in and tell us a little bit what's going on in our legislature.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. State Representative John Wills here with us today. We want to thank him for taking us in here on a very busy schedule. We thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. All right.
Boom.
Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you in part by the Scott Troutman State Farm Agency in Spirit Lake, Quest Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz, Ducky's Marine and Motorsports Repair in Spirit Lake, Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Ruthven Locker at the Lake, where carnivores are welcome on Hill Avenue in Spirit Lake. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake, Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji,